Understanding what motivates and drives us as human beings has been the focus of a lot of research and conversation in the past few decades. You've probably been in conversations yourself about trying to motivate your kids, your coworkers, or yourself. Each of us wants to feel a sense of purpose and fulfillment in our work, and these are usually connected to our level of motivation. So that makes motivation a really crucial concept to understand because it's so closely tied to our sense of purpose and fulfillment. Often when we talk about motivation, the goal is to figure out how do we increase it, either in ourselves or in others. As leaders, we try to motivate our followers. As parents, we try to help our kids feel more motivated about school. Or maybe we're just trying to energize ourselves. In this course, we're going to use a different lens to understand motivation. Instead of trying to artificially increase it, we'll teach you to tap into the internal motivation that already exists. We don't use a one-size-fits-all model because each of us is different. Instead, we'll investigate the 6 different sources of motivational energy working within us and our teams. You don't have to push and prod, try to stir up a sense of enthusiasm and energy. Instead, you can learn to see beneath the surface and discover what is unique to each of us about motivation, and then tap into a power source that already exists. Now, speaking of looking beneath the surface, let's contrast motivation with something else you've learned about: DISC behaviors. If you're taking this course, you've already discovered your primary DISC style and used that knowledge to improve communication with your team. When we looked at DISC behaviors, we discussed how they are observable. If you're around someone long enough, you can see whether they're talkative or reserved, direct or reflective, highly organized or more flexible. When it comes to motivation, we're looking at traits that are beneath the surface, not so observable. And throughout our course, we'll use the metaphor of an iceberg to talk about these traits. Some we can see, like DISC behaviors, and those are the tip of the iceberg. But some, like motivation, lie beneath the surface and need deeper exploration to recognize and understand. Even though motivation lies beneath the surface, you've seen evidence of it on your team. You may have someone who's really good at saving time, figuring out ways to create efficiencies that make tasks go faster. You may have someone on your team who always knows the latest industry news because they love to read and discover. Each of these is tied to a kind of motivation, which we'll explore more deeply in Module 2. For now, what we want to do is help you dig into your own report. Depending on the report you have, the page describing your driving forces may look like this or this. We want you to read those pages of your report. Then this week's application will guide you through some self-reflection questions based on what you've read. As you read your report, can I encourage you to stay curious? These reports can be a very useful tool to help you understand yourself, but you may not agree with or like everything you read. Lean into the possibility that you may have some blind spots. We want you to learn to recognize what's driving you, and some of that may be under the waterline, not just for others, but even for you. I know that when I was first introduced to this tool, I had some blind spots, and I'll share more about those later. What is it about having blind spots that creates the need to stay curious? As you read, there may be some statements in your report that you find challenging. For example, there's a line in some reports that says, "This person is driven by status and recognition." Some people who have that in their report don't like that statement or feel it doesn't apply to them. They think that valuing status and recognition means they're arrogant and egotistical. But that's not necessarily true. Before you just dismiss something in your report, ask yourself, what could it mean that status and recognition are important to me? For some, status might mean being in an early boarding group for the airplane, and recognition could be having the waiter at your favorite restaurant know your name. It doesn't necessarily mean you want to be president or have your name in the news. So stay curious. Dig into the statements in your report and ask yourself, how does this show up for me? What about this feels motivational or energetic to me? The statements in your report that feel challenging may be different from the one I've just described, but the principle is the same. Stay curious by asking what the report may be revealing that you haven't seen before. If you do feel like something in your report is incorrect, you'll have an opportunity to discuss that in week 4 with your coach or group leader. In the meantime, if you find something that feels false or just doesn't resonate, take those statements to 1 or 2 trusted friends who know you well and ask them how that might be showing up. You may learn something new and valuable about yourself.